Hello guys, welcome to my next video, and in this video we will continue with our series about jComponent, and we will talk about component jInput. Again, you can find information about jInput at componentator.com, and I'll put a link below in the description. As you can see, there is a lot of possibilities of configuration in jInput. So in this video, I'll not talk about every possibility, but I'll show you some basics, and then you can try it and play with it. Or if you want to know something, feel free to ask in the comments. Also, there are some examples, so if you want to, you can check them too here in HTML. So, as you can suggest from the name, jInput is input component, so user can interact with our application. There are a lot of types of input. So for example, email, checkbox, phone number, string, date, and so on. And all these types and some more can handle jInput, and I will show you how. So let's start with basic string input. As always, I will use tag UI component for our jComponents with name input, because we want to use jInput. As path, I'll use path $.test. For configuration, I will not use anything right now, and default will be also empty in this case. And as a label, I'll use also test. Now I can refresh our page, and as you can see, our input appeared here. Right now it's empty, so if I want to retrieve value from command, it's empty string because I already clicked into this input. But if I write here, for example, my name Palo, and now I want to retrieve the value from input, you can see that there is my name Palo already set it in our path. When we want to tell someone what they should write into this input, we can do it with placeholder in config. So for example, I write here, enter your name, and I can save our code. And after refreshing our page, you can see that there is enter your name as placeholder in our input. So for example, I write here Palo again, and after retrieving our value, there is again my name Palo. Also, there is a possibility to set some value as default for our input. So for example, if I want to have a default value Peter, I'll write it here in attribute default. And after saving our code and refreshing our page, there is default value Peter. So if I want to check what we will retrieve from our path command.test, there is Peter. After I rewrite it for Palo again, we can see that our value has changed. As I said before, jInput supports more input types, and every input is validated based on this type. So for example, I can show it to you on an example of type email. I will put away this default value. So now our input will be validated as email. So for example, if I put here only my name, Palo, you can see that this input is now displayed as invalid. But if I rewrite it and I will put here my email.com, now you can see that the red border disappeared and it's validated like an email. The same is used for another types, for example, phone. Now you have to put here some number, because if you put here some string, it's validated as invalid. Also, it works for number. And as you can see, on the right side appeared icons for increasing or decreasing our value. Also for numbers, you can use min value. For example, I put here 10, and max value, for example, 100. And now it will be validated based on these two properties. For example, I put here 62, that's all right, but if I want to put here 5, it will be changed for our min value, because I was under our min limit. And if I will put here, for example, 1 million, it will be changed for 100, because it's over our limit. Another input type is a checkbox, so I'll change this code. And after refreshing our page, you can see that our input changed for checkbox. And now we can retrieve value only true or false based on if we checked our box or not. Another interesting inputs are color picker, for example. If I want to use color picker, I have to change this type for color. But it's not working right now because we need another component for this. This component is singleton, and its name is color picker. And now you can see that this color picker appeared here, and we can choose our color. For example, I'll choose this red color, and after retrieving a value, the value is retrieved as hex color. It works very similar for dates, so I will change this type for date, and color picker I will change for date picker. And now you can choose a date from a calendar which appeared here. So for example, I'll choose today, and after retrieving our value, you can see that there is a date. If you want to give a user some options to choose from as a drop-down, you can do it with jDirectory. So I'll change this UI component for directory, and you can retrieve some options from a property, but now in this case I'll write some options right here. So for example, dog, cat, and cow, for example. Now after saving our code and refreshing our page, I can click on this drop down and I can choose dog, for example. And after retrieving our value, you can see that there is a dog. As you can see, I wrote here these animals twice, dog, dog, cat, cat, cow, cow, because this first value will be used as ID, which will be saved to our path, and the second value is name, which will be shown to user. These values are divided by a pipe. Also, what can be interesting for you is that you can let a user choose more options. So I will write here multiple true, and now user can choose more options. For example, I'll choose all three options, and now when I want to retrieve our value, you can see that it's an array, of IDs of our options. If some of your inputs are required, you just have to write here required, true, and now you can see that there is a red star, and it means that user have to write here something or choose one of the options. Also, there is prepared another style for inputs, and you can change it by inner label and change it for true. And as you can see, the style has changed. Also, instead of true, you can write here 1, and it will be the same result. Also, there is possibility to put some icons in your input. So for example, icon is icon on the left side. For example, I'll put here TT home, and now you can see that icon of home appeared here. If you want to invoke some function after clicking on this icon, you can do it with icon click, and I'll put here a function, name of a function, which should be invoked. So for example, click, and now I will create this function. So export click equals function, and I'll put here console log click. And now, after clicking on this icon, you can see that click appeared here. So this function was invoked. Okay, so that's all for this tutorial about jInput. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Bye.